Ever get lost watching kids blow bubbles? It's kind of captivating, isn't it? Like that pure joy, chasing these shimmering spheres.
Totally.
Trying to make the biggest one, but knowing deep down it's going to vanish into thin air.
It's bittersweet almost.
There's something profound about it, though, don't you think? And it perfectly sets the stage for our deep dive today.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
We're jumping into this really thought-provoking excerpt. Trust, truth, and belief worlds. Ready to get philosophical?
Hit me with it.
Okay, so our mission today, if you choose to accept it, is to figure out how recognizing our belief bubbles can actually be like incredibly freeing.
I'm all about a little freedom.
Right. So think about this. What if we could treat those deeply held beliefs with the same lightness, the same, sense of wonder that kids have with bubbles?
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
Because right off the bat, this excerpt hits us with a powerful metaphor. Our beliefs, whether it's like personal stuff or even societal things, they're basically like bubbles.
Bubbles. Okay, go on.
Yeah. Like they form, they kind of float around. Sometimes they bump into each other and inevitably pop.
Okay, I see what you mean. That visual really helps.
Right.
Because it lets you step back from, the emotional weight of your beliefs and just see their structure for what it is.
It's true.
And bubbles, well, they're temporary by nature, right? They shimmer for a bit, then disappear.
It's so easy to forget that. Like, I know I've been guilty of clinging to a belief like it's some kind of life raft.
Oh, tell me about it.
Only to have it, like, totally challenged later on. And the excerpt even says, the nature of the bubble is to live its glory and give us temporary joy and satisfaction before it gets busted and dies down.
It's true, though, right? Like, how do we apply that to those beliefs that might actually be holding us back?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just the fun, fleeting stuff, but also those limiting beliefs.
It's interesting, right? Because it's like when a kid's bubble pops, they don't freak out, they just blow another one.
Right.
So we can learn to have that same lightness with our own beliefs.
It's not about saying your beliefs aren't important.
Not at all.
But maybe just holding them a bit more gently. Acknowledging that they might evolve or even completely change down the road.
Exactly. It's about growth.
It's like that moment you realize you've totally outgrown an old opinion. You look back and think, how did I ever believe that so strongly?
Happens to the best of us. But the excerpt also mentions something else. How people get trapped inside their bubbles.
Oh, yeah. Or even worse, they try to force others into their little bubble world.
All the time. It's like those intense political debates.
Oh, for sure.
Both sides are so sure they're right,
Totally. Or even just a really rigid company culture that's like totally resistant to new ideas.
Absolutely. It's not about saying one bubble's right and the other is wrong. The real key is just recognizing when it's happening. Like, aha, we're both operating within our own belief bubbles here.
Right. So how can our listeners actually put this belief bubble idea into practice? I mean, we're all floating through this world of different bubbles, each one claiming to be the truth.
It's a good question. And the excerpt actually dives into this whole idea of navigating belief worlds.
Okay, yeah.
And it stresses three things: awareness, appreciation, and detachment.
I like that.
Awareness is about recognizing that a belief, no matter how much you cherish it, it's still just a temporary bubble. It's not the be-all, end-all truth.
Makes sense.
Then there's appreciation. It's about finding value in those different perspectives, right? Without getting totally sucked into them.
Not letting them trap you.
Exactly. And finally, detachment. That's the tricky part.
That's the real challenge.
Because it's about not letting your whole identity get tangled up with a single fragile belief bubble.
Right, because what happens when that bubble pops?
Exactly.
It's like we're all navigating this crazy, ever-changing landscape of these belief bubbles. And instead of colliding with each other, we could try to appreciate the diversity, even find some freedom in the fact that they're temporary.
That's it. And the excerpt ends on such a powerful note. It says, "These bubbles are neither good, bad, nor ugly. They are just bubbles." Becoming aware of this is when freedom starts to dawn on us.
That's so true. So for our listeners, how can we apply this awareness to our everyday lives? Like, how can we actually start to see those belief bubbles around us?
Here's a little challenge for you and our listeners. This week, try to just notice the belief bubbles you come across.
Ooh, I like that.
Could be in conversations, in the news, even those sneaky ones in your own head.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because they're everywhere.
Exactly. And just see what happens when you approach them with awareness, a little appreciation, and maybe even a touch of that childlike wonder we were talking about.
See if it changes how you interact with people, how you make decisions,
Yeah.
even how you see yourself.
It's all about perspective.
Food for thought.